So let's see what's going on in the media right now. The NFL has begun. San Francisco 49ers beat the New York Jets 32-19. The 49ers won. James Earl Jones has died. He was the voice of Darth Vader and Mufasa. You're a part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. And then we become the grass and the circle of life carries on. Coming to America, a funny Eddie Murphy comedy. Field of Dreams, ease his pain. Thomas Massey is criticizing both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, on spending. And then you got Coeur's, Coeur, Coeur's gold mine in Lovelock, Nevada. Rochester had produced about 1 million ounces of silver and over 8 ounces of gold in the second quarter, which was up from 699,000 ounces of silver and 5,755 ounces of gold in the second quarter of last year, according to the Coeur's quarterly report. 32 million tons per year. Something about it being one of the largest open pit heap leach operations in the world. They're digging 32 million tons per year. It's the day before Kamala and Donald are to engage in their first debate. I'm going to post this in a month just to show folks the cyclical nature of our news media. Some horrible atrocity happens within a day or two and everybody's talking about it, and then within a week everybody's forgot about it and they're already talking about the next thing, something else. Donald has escaped sentencing for his 34 felonies in the falsifying business records case, campaign finance violations. He was supposed to be sentenced in 8 days, September 18th. In the hush money case. Hotel workers in America are starting to strike. Tyre Nichols murder trial in federal court begins. 3 of the cops who had killed him are on trial right now for constitutional violations of Tyre Nichols. That was out of Memphis, Tennessee. And then, of course, there was the Georgia shooting, the school shooting, where you had 2 teachers and 2 students who were murdered. And I want to talk about 3 things specifically right now. So that just gives you a snapshot of what's happening right now, September 10th, 2024. I specifically want to talk about 3 things: Tyreek Hill's arrest, Joseph Couch, the I75 shooter, and Israel and Palestine. Israel's genocide is looking to break us. There's a massive general strike in Israel right now. They're trying to stop it. The people are trying to stop this shit. But Netanyahu just wants to keep on massacring. Joseph Couch, near London, Kentucky, was shooting at folks driving on Interstate 75, 1 hour south of Lexington, Kentucky. The schools are closed there. They've found his vehicle, an assault rifle, and his phone, and 1,000 rounds of ammunition or so. While 5 to 7 cars or people were hit, some of them pretty seriously, some of them critical, but they're all stable. None of them have been killed. And you got Hobbes' scale of justice right here, which I'll mention in a second. But basically, to kill against the law is a greater crime than any other injury, life preserved. And to kill with torment greater than simply to kill. Mutilation of a limb greater than the spoiling of a man and his goods. The spoiling of a man of his goods by terror of death or wounds and by clandestine surreption. Clandestine surreption is worse than consent fraudulently obtained, and a violation of chastity by force greater than by flattery, and of a married woman than of a woman not married. So that's a bit of a scale right there, a scale of justice. So all those folks and the I-75 shooter has escaped with their lives. I'm not for sure about the extent of all of their injuries. One woman got hit pretty hard, went through her one arm, goes across her chest, and comes out of her left arm. And there's just blood all over the place. She was driving with her 4-year-old. And then there was another woman who didn't get hit at all. It hit the rim to her car, and it hit there's a couple divots on the side of her car. But she was able to drive home, so it didn't pop her tire. You had a Chicago police officer that actually was slashing people's cars, slashing people's. So Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill tells the officer, just give me my ticket, bro, so I can go. And I'm going to be late. Do what you got to do, right? He's speeding. Okay, that gets a ticket. He got to pay his $100, $200, whatever. He rolls his darkly tinted window back up. Within 1 minute, he's down on the ground. Keep your window down, the officer tells him, tapping on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. Hill can be seen inside. Tyreek Hill rolled the window down slightly and said, don't tell me what to do. He put the window back up. He's put on the ground. He's put down on the ground. You have a lot of people filming it as they're driving by. Like he's some sort of bank robber. Like he's got hostages. Like Hamas or Israel, who keeps on killing every motherfucking day for the last 11 months now. 200,000 people have been killed. With America's help, $23.5 billion. The guns and the arms and the UN veto. If I let my window down, people walking by, driving by, they're going to notice that it's me, Tyreek Hill said. And they're going to start taking pictures. And I don't want to create some kind of scene at all. Like I just really want to get the ticket and then go on about my way. The officer again told Hill to put his window back down or I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. For what? Back talking? For not saying thank you for, giving him a ticket? It's only a ticketable offense. It's only a ticketable offense. This guy is escalating it. Why? The ACLU says you only need to crack the window a little bit. All you need to do is crack the window enough so the officer can hear you and you can pass your information through the window. That's all you need. Just crack the window a little bit. And even if the guy is being dangerous, if the cop is saying, I want to pull you out, he can pull the window out and break the window like that if it's cracked a little bit. So with it being cracked a little bit, here's the license, here's the registration, here's the insurance. That's all you need. You can hear me. I can pass the information to you. But let's be honest, Tyreek Hill is a big, strong black man. He's driving a fancy sports car. That's his crime. Look at Tyre Nichols. What was he doing? They said he was speeding too. Yet no evidence has been found of him speeding. No evidence whatsoever. They said that he was driving into oncoming traffic. They said that he tried to grab one of their guns as he was down on the ground. Bullshit. Bullshit. I heard that he was sleeping with one of the officers' wives. How fast was Tyreek Hill driving? How fast? You got any proof of how fast he was driving? How many miles per hour was he over? Was it 3 miles per hour? Is that what it was? Well, you're driving 3 miles per hour over the speed limit. Or was it like a 90 mile an hour in a 35? Now that's something. That's dangerous. You're putting a lot of people's lives at risk. Who was the victim? Were there any victims? He drove 3 miles per hour over. I'd like to know some of these things. I'd like to know what started Joseph Couch's shooting too. They're looking for 32-year-old Joseph Couch. The U.S. Marshal's Office, the FBI. I hear there's about 150 people looking for Joseph Couch. He was charged with terroristic threatening earlier in the year. That case got dismissed. He legally and lawfully bought that AR-15, AK-47 semi-assault rifles with 1,000 rounds of ammunition. The AR-15. They think that Joseph Couch had opened fire from 3 different perches along the ridge that looks down on I-75. Officials confirmed one of the 5 victims was shot in the face, another one was shot in the arm, and then another one got shot across the chest. So there were significant and severe injuries. I don't want to lessen that, says the officials. You don't want to lessen it. Nobody said you were lessening it. That's why you're out here, right? One woman had showed the divots in her car, but compared to the Chicago cop who's slashing the tires, she got to drive home. The innocent guy in Chicago, he had ATV slingshot vehicle. He couldn't drive it. He had to pay $1,000 to get those tires fixed later on. And then plus just the trauma of the police are sitting there committing crimes. And then the other cops just sat there and watched him do it. So brown folks can't have anything nice. That did worse damage than that one victim of Joseph Couch. She had a couple divots in her car, and that's going to cost some money, but she was able to drive home. That Chicago cop stopped that guy from being able to drive his slingshot ATV. He was at a Puerto Rican Day Festival parade. She's been on the media talking about it. Beautiful woman, too. Probably a stranger to the struggle. I'm not for sure. Now, you have Joseph Couch, right? Joseph Couch, they found his silver Toyota SUV on Saturday night. And on Sunday, they recovered an AR-15 that Joseph Couch had allegedly used in the shooting, along with 1,000 rounds of ammunition. So he's essentially dropped everything, and then his phone too. So he doesn't have much if he's still alive. He had texted somebody saying that he was going to kill a bunch of people, and then he also said that he was going to kill himself afterwards. He texted a woman. So is this heartbreak? Where's his people at? Where's his parents at? Where's his friends at? Where's his neighbors? Does he have nobody in this world? Official says that he had a military past too. He served in the Army Reserves for at least 4 years. So this is kind of Rambo-ish, isn't it? They tried to run Rambo out of town for just having long hair, for being a drifter, for looking for his Vietnam buddy. We don't want your long-haired hippie trash around here. You get the hell out of here. So the cops are sitting there calling him a hippie, and yet he's coming back from Vietnam, and the protesters are saying he is the bad guy. Well, is he left-wing? Is he right-wing? He's one of us. He's working class, and he took a job. For Joseph Couch, they're using drones and infrared. They've got body heat sensing devices. They're flying all over the place. They hope that they got him contained. But I've heard you could walk 20-something miles per day. So he could be out of that area. It's a large wooded area. And then God will provide. Look at the wildflowers and look at the birds in the sky. Look at the trees. So there is food and water around if he knows anything. He might survive. But like he said in that text, he was going to kill a lot of people. Well, try at least. And then he's going to kill himself afterwards. He shot a bunch of cars. He don't know the damage that he's done. He has no idea. He's not watching any of the media. He's not listening to any of this stuff. So he's probably thinking that there's a couple people that did not make it. And then he had said that he was going to kill himself afterwards. Is this a heartbreak? He had nobody. He just had the one woman in his life. And then she spurned him. Now he feels like he's got nothing. The message was determined to have been around sent at 5:03 p.m. on Saturday. He's evaded capture for 3 days. I am not excusing what he has done. I am going to compare it to Israel and Palestine, though, which is way worse. People are scared to death. Everybody's afraid. That Georgia shooter killed 4 folks. So compared to the Georgia shooter, Colt and Colin and Marcy Gray is way worse than Joseph Couch. Marcy Gray has a 17-year rap sheet. They're abusing Colt Gray. He was getting bullied at school. He was being abused at home by his terrible mother, being locked outside the house in inclement weather. Colton, Colin, and Marcy Gray is way worse than Joseph Couch. Why? Because 4 people are dead. 4 people are dead because of Colton, Colin, and Marcy Gray, because of that Georgia shooter. They say that 32-year-old Joseph Couch had fired the AR-15 from a cliff ledge on the side of Interstate 75 about 9 miles north of London, Kentucky, striking 12 cars and wounding 5 people. So 5 people are wounded, and they're seriously wounded, and he shouldn't have done that, and it's a crime. And he's going to pay for that crime. If he doesn't shoot himself, he might get killed by the police. They got drones that's searching for him. They think it's contained. If he's captured and arrested, he's going to go to court, and there's going to be justice. There's going to be consequences for his behavior. He bought the AR-15 with a sight and 1,000 rounds of ammunition that very day, paid $3,000, and he did it all lawfully, said the sheriff's office. An arrest warrant has been issued for 32-year-old Joseph Couch, and he's being charged with 5 counts of attempted murder and 5 counts of first-degree assault. That sounds fair to me. That sounds just. Jackie Steele, the Commonwealth attorney for Laurel and Knox counties, told CNN they got his phone. Pennington said Monday afternoon, we want the citizens to call in on everything. If you come home and your doors don't seem like that's how you left it, then back out and call somebody. If you hear your dogs barking late at night, call. I hear dogs barking throughout the day. I hear dogs barking throughout the night. If your doors don't seem like that's how you left it, then back out and call somebody. They are creating a bunch of paranoia. I understand they want everybody to be a part of this manhunt, but people have lives. They got bills to pay. They got to go to school. They got to go somewhere with themselves. You got a 9-to-5 job. You got to be able to work at that job so you can pay the rent and pay the mortgage. The bank doesn't give a shit. You got to pay that money no matter what. The bank doesn't give a shit. No UBI payments. There's no checks coming. like Tommy Lee Jones and the fugitive with the Harris Ford. They're sitting there saying, all right, everybody, listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven ground, barring injuries, is 4 miles per hour. That gives us a radius of 6 miles. What I want from each and every one of you is a hard target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, and doghouse in the area. Warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, doghouse. Checkpoints go up at 15 miles. Your fugitive's name, Dr. Richard Kimball. Go get him. Everybody is scared, Weddle said. Everybody is scared, Weddle said. This is a very dangerous situation. When I think about Rambo, at the very end, basically he declares a one-man war against all of society. And what was he supposed to do? He's getting fucking goddamn harassed by the cops. The cops drive him to the edge of town and says, get the hell out of here, you long-haired hippie, you. Get the hell out of here. We don't want your riffraff. We don't want you drifters coming in here. To say that to a superstar, to say that to a badass, that's how we treat our... I thought everybody loves the troops. And then he drives up into the mountain, and then he's walking around the mountain, and then the helicopter's looking for him, and then, oh, whoops, a police officer falls out of the helicopter. Well, was that the cop's fault, or was that the Rambo's fault? When they take him to the station, they're sitting there just not only harassing him, but abusing him. So he escapes from the police custody. He runs up into the mountains. He's got that dirt bike, and he drives up a hill. The dirt bike, he only drives up so far until the dirt bike flips backwards, and then he's just on foot. So they're going to put that police officer who fell out of the helicopter on Rambo. He didn't do that. In fact, he's almost a completely innocent victim. In a way, I want to know the motive. What was the terroristic threatening? He had these charges on him. It was dismissed, but there's different levels, there's different degrees of a charge. Terroristic threatening, well, back in the Iraq wartime, you could just say fuck you to a police officer. Hey, that's terroristic threatening. Chaplinsky decision says that if you call a cop a fascist, well, that's fighting words there, you. Say you fascist, motherfucking pieces of shit. That's not terroristic threatening. Terroristic threatening is you're going to do A, B, and C. So what they had said, what he had texted to that woman, that was terroristic threatening. He said he was going to kill a bunch of people. That's terroristic threatening. He did it on text. So he already had the charges from one time, and then he was able to beat that. So what he texted was terroristic threatening. But what started all this? I am curious about the motive. I am curious about why he did all those things. Because you do need to stop the criminal. You need to take care of the victims. Pick up the victims as best you can. Hopefully they have a full recovery. Innocent people just driving along the interstate. They didn't do nothing to nobody. Maybe burning gas or something, but paying taxes and participating in the military-industrial complex. But individually, they didn't do anything. Nothing specifically, they didn't do anything. So I think about the last speech of Rambo. Rambo 1, First Blood. Colonel Troutman says, "It's over, Johnny, it's over." And Rambo says, "Nothing is over, nothing. You don't just turn it off. It wasn't my war. You asked me. I didn't ask you. And I did what I had to do to win for somebody who wouldn't let us win. And then I come back into the world and I see all those maggots at the airport protesting me, spitting, calling me a baby killer, all kinds of vile crap. Who are they to protest me, huh? Who are they? Unless they've been me and been there and know what the hell they yelling about. They also lied to you, Rambo. They lied to you, Rambo. They lied to us, man. Colonel Troutman, it's been a bad time for everyone, Rambo. It's all in the past now. For you, for me, civilian life is nothing. In the field without a code of honor, you watch my back, I watch yours. Back here, there's nothing, Colonel Troutman. You're the last of an elite group. Don't end it like this, Rambo. Back there, I could fly a gunship. I could drive a tank. I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Back here, I can't even hold a parking job. I can't even hold a job parking cars. Ah! He throws his M60 at the wall. Then there's a slight emotional pause. He drops to the ground in the crouched position, out of breath and very upset. What? I can't. Oh my God. Where is everybody? Oh God, I had a friend. Who is Danforth? What? I had all these guys, man. Back there I had all these fucking friends. Who are my friends? Where are my friends? Because back here there's nothing. Remember Danforth? He wore this black headband, and I took one of those magic markers and I said to Farron, hey, mail us to Las Vegas, because we were always talking about Vegas in this fucking car, this red 58 Chevy convertible. He was talking about this car. He said we were going to cruise the 58 Chevy convertible till the tires fall off. We were in this bar in Saigon, and this kid comes up, this kid carrying a shoe shine box, and he says, shine, please, shine. I said, no. Hey, no. And he kept asking. I was like, all right, yeah. Joey said, yeah. And I went to get a couple beers, and then the box was wired. And he opened the box, and he fucking blew himself, his body all over the place. And he's just laying there, and he's fucking screaming. There's pieces of him all over the place. And he just grabs at his bullet chain strapped around his chest and yanks it off like this. And I'm trying to pull him off, you know? And my friend, it's all over for me. It's got blood and everything. And I'm trying to hold him together. And I put him together. His fucking insides keep coming out, and nobody would help. Nobody would help me. He's saying, please, I want to go home. I want to go home. He keeps calling my name. I want to go home, Johnny. I want to drive my Chevy. And I said, well, why? I can't find your fucking legs. I can't find your legs. I can't get it out of my head. I dream it for 7 years. Every day I got this. Sometimes I wake up and I don't know where I am. I don't talk to anybody. Sometimes a day, a week. And I just can't put it out of my mind. I fucking can't put it out of my mind. So Rambo went through some shit. He went through Vietnam. This guy was in the reserves. He didn't see any battles at all. He'd never been deployed. Honorably discharged. Nothing bad had happened. He served honorably for 4 years. Just wasn't needed. He's part of the reserve, so that's not the Army. It's not the Marines. It's not the Air Force. Every weekend he goes and does some military training. Cleans up the gunships. Cleans up the tanks and stuff. So others were critically hurt, but they're in stable condition. Sunday, he said. The victims are Rebecca Purview, Norma Liberia, Renee Walker, Janet Booth, and Eric Gavin, according to the arrest warrant. All 5 were traveling south on I-75, and I hope they're okay. I'm glad the 4-year-old kid of that one lady didn't get shot per year. Rebecca Puryear had a 4-year-old in the car. That would have been pretty fucking terrible, wouldn't it? The school shooting, the adults. I mean, that's terrible, but a kid's completely innocent. A 4-year-old, they're completely innocent. Rebecca Puryear, 28, said she was a walking miracle to CNN because she survived the shooting. She was driving home with her husband and their 4-year-old son when they heard gunshots on I-75. When she pulled over, she looked down and there was just pouring blood everywhere. Rebecca Puryear said that a bullet had entered the passenger side window, struck her right arm, penetrated her chest before exiting through her left arm. She was released from a hospital later, Saturday night, but will need surgery. Joseph Couch, 32-year-old Joseph Couch, has served in the Army Reserve for roughly 6 years, 2013 and 2017 as a combat engineer. He had no deployments and he was a private, which is the Army's lowest enlisted rank at the end of his service. So he went in as a private for 6 years and he leaves as a private. Army spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Ruth Castro told CNN in a statement, more than 150 federal, state, and local personnel are involved in the investigation and search for 32-year-old Joseph Couch, Root estimated, though only about 40 to 50 of those are on the ground. 32-year-old Joseph Couch has a very minimal criminal record in the state. According to Steele, he was charged with that terroristic threatening. The charge was dismissed, and no other details on the charge were given. It's an accusation. You're innocent until proven guilty, and the charge was dismissed. So, did they dismiss it because they couldn't convict? Did they dismiss it because they thought it was minor? Did they dismiss it because it was bullshit? We don't know. That matters. Tyre Nichols, he was being pulled over for speeding. Was he? Do you have the proof of this? A lot of times, Israel will just bomb the shit out of Palestine and then say, oh, Hamas. There was a Hamas militant, and we're just supposed to believe them? I mean, cops 20 years ago in America would do the same shit. They would do the exact same shit. They would shoot a person and then throw a gun down or throw a knife down and say, well, he tried to attack me, even if he didn't. Sometimes they'd shoot him in the back. Just having police reform and having these cameras, they still do the shit on camera. 32-year-old Joseph Couch has a very minimal criminal record. The suspect has no red flags. All of his purchases were legal, Weddle told CNN. So no way, shape, or form am I excusing Joseph Couch's shooting. I am curious about the motive, but he committed crimes. Joseph Couch committed crimes against 5 individuals, and I think that the charges make sense. 5 assaults, 5 felony assaults, 5 attempted murders. Those charges make sense to me. So, despicable. Despicable. 32-year-old Joseph Couch lost his shit, broke up with somebody, was pursuing somebody who didn't like him, spurned his advances, has nobody. Maybe he's got some abuse in his past, maybe not. Who knows? Does he have a support system? This dog-eat-dog capitalist system? America almost seems like it's a powder keg anyways, with the red states and the blue states. You got the presidential election still, 2 months out. So I'm not excusing Couch's shooting whatsoever. If he doesn't kill himself, then he might get shot by the cops. And if he doesn't get shot by the cops and he doesn't kill himself, he'll surely pay for his crimes when he's arrested. What I am saying is that the Georgia shooting that ended in 2 deaths of 2 adults and 2 children, that's worse. What I am saying is that what Israel's doing to Palestine is way, way worse. Tyreek, and Nichols, they were speeding. Who's the injured party? Did anybody get injured? If you're driving 90 miles an hour, then okay. You're kind of threatening everybody. You're 3 miles over, that's let him go. You don't know if your radar's even right. 3 miles per hour, that's nothing. What happened yesterday, Israel just bombed the shit out of 3 families. Missile strikes. They're saying there's 40 dead. 40 dead and 60 injured. 40 dead. They're dead. 3 families vanquished. 3 families are disappeared in the sand. And they keep digging for them. And they try to find an arm here and a leg there and the head of a kid. You see a bunch of kids with a bunch of shit blown up in their face, scratches on their face, their jaws fucking missing. You got dead carcasses up in the rafters. You got a guy looking for his children in the rubble. He's missing his 4 kids. He don't know where his 4 kids are. One guy goes to the local government agency to get their birth certificates. He just had twins. Oh, how exciting. He just had 2 kids. 2 twins and a mother and a grandmother fucking killed by Israel and by the United States government. We're giving them $23.5 billion. We're giving them the guns and the weapons and the tanks and the airplanes. The Bush doctrine says that if Saudi Arabia kills 3,000 of ours, then we get to kill 1 million Iraqis. And we get to invade Afghanistan and declare war on the entire world. But Saudi Arabia gets away with their shit. The Bush doctrine is sitting there saying that Israel could do this shit. And then when Russia wipes out tens of thousands of people in Mariupol, how does that not reflect U.S. foreign policy? We're the premier empire, so only we can do what we're doing. For what reason? For freedom and democracy, right? Because we care about those people. We love those people. They're not just a bunch of brown folks. They're not just Muslims. We care about the entire world's people. We're a good, heartfelt empire. We're winning hearts and minds. Not only are we providing military equipment, but I'm sure we're helping them get some running water. We're building hospitals and we're building schools. We don't even build hospitals here. Not with government money. They're privatized. Schools, we build roads and schools. We had the infrastructure package. The best thing we did in Vietnam was the water projects, helping them build their country up. But every motherfucking day this shit has been happening for the past 11 months, almost a year now. 200,000 people getting killed over what, 1,200? That's not proportional. That's not an eye for an eye. That's an eye for 200 fucking eyes. That is such an overreaction. It's so fucking disgusting. It's not even funny. Where's the righteousness of any of this? This goes against international law, goes against our own law. Congress hasn't declared war since World War II. That's what the Constitution says. We don't go to war until Congress says that we do. Which means that all 500 people in Congress have to deliberate and argue about it, and then eventually say that it's a pressing danger. If we're being invaded, we got a right to defend ourselves. We're just maintaining the empire. Does it help our dollar or something? Our dollar's tanking, our dollar's going down. Henry Rajab was in a car for hours. She's a 6-year-old girl. These twins are 2 twins. That 4-year-old didn't get hurt. I haven't heard any reports about it was the mother that got hurt. So compare and contrast, this shit is so fucking disgusting. They're all scared because one guy shot a couple cars and some people were injured. How'd you feel if you were being fucking missile striked? You live in a goddamn tent, you have no food, you got no water. You've already moved away from your fucking home 3 or 4 times. You've gone to one refugee camp to another refugee camp. A missile strikes every fucking once in a while. It's just mowing the grass. This is just mowing the grass. It's just routine. They're just trying to put them on notice. We're not going to integrate the Palestinian. We're doing one Israel. We either do a 2-state solution or a 1-state solution. 1-state solution isn't fucking genocide. It's not put them on reservations. 2-state solution, you live side by side. Can neighbors not live side by side without attacking each other? And if you're going to do a 1-state solution, then that means you're registering Palestinians to vote. And they're going to be citizens. And they're going to be treated as equals. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing in Palestine? That's not what we're doing. Rin Rajab was a 6-year-old. She was in a car for hours talking to her mother. 100 bullet holes. The car's mangled and totally fucked. She's on the phone with her mother until the phone dies, and then she's gone. We don't even know what happened to her. She didn't say she was shot, but she thought the rest of the family in the car were just sleeping. But they were already shot dead or mangled and no jaws of life. Nobody comes to save them. Right now they're tearing up the streets of the West Bank. Even ambulances can't get through. They're blocking the ambulances from getting through. They're destroying the streets so an ambulance can't even drive through the streets. Julian Assange is put in jail for 15 years or so. For what? Because some helicopter murderer, some American soldier in a helicopter killed some innocent journalists and children and that embarrassed us? Who gives a shit that they killed innocent people in Iraq? We don't give a fuck about that. According to his scale, murder is the worst thing. Thomas Hobbes, we're not supposed to know about the atrocities that the MIC commits. Why not? We're grown adults. We can handle it. If we're killing innocent children and journalists, then we're not winning hearts and minds. Will we steal their gold, taking their silver? Is it for hegemony? 3 days ago, at least 13 Palestinians were killed, 15 wounded in an Israeli strike on a school, sheltering refugees in a residential building in Gaza. The Palestinian Authority's official news agency WAFA reported on Saturday at least 8 of the dead were in refugee tents in Halima al-Sadiyah school, Jabalia in northern Gaza. So we're bombing schools? Yeah, we're bombing a lot of fucking schools. Bombing hospitals, we're bombing schools. We ain't building nothing. There's no infrastructure. They're destroying all the infrastructure. They're trying to wipe them out, slowly but surely. And the whole world is watching, even if you're not paying attention, America. The Israeli army said in a statement that it conducted a precise strike on terrorists who are operating inside a Hamas command and control center. Yeah, I'm sure. Halima al-Sadiyah school. How many terrorists are in the schools in the northern Gaza Strip? In a separate incident, 5 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli strike on a residential building in the New Sea Iraq camp in central Gaza, while displacing nearly the entire population of 2.3 million. Every single person in Palestine's had to move once or twice or 3 times. I know people that's never moved in their entire lives. Maybe once or twice, people lived in the same fucking home that they've always lived in. You hadn't moved in the last few years, 3 or 4 times. According to the UN, there's been 1.9 million people across the Gaza Strip that have been internally displaced. Some of them have been uprooted more than 10 times. Israel says it's killed or captured half of Hamas's commanders, more than 14,000 combatants since the war began. Well, are those hostages? Do they got prisoners of war? That's hostages, right? One of the 6 people were up in arms about that had got killed by Hamas. Well, he was a military man. One of them were. Isn't that okay? You're allowed to do missile strikes on military people. Isn't that all right? And then if you happen to kill some kids, that's just collateral damage. That's what Tim McVeigh had said. That's what Hamas is doing. 200,000 people have been killed. Not mostly Hamas, you had that one fucking raid where 93 people got killed. And they want to say 10 to 20 of them were Hamas. Half of them were kids themselves. You think kids are just being radicalized like this for no damn reason? They're living in fucking tents. They can't go to school. They can't go to the hospital. They have no prospects. They got no food, no water. CNN today, September 10th, 2024. Dozens killed as Israeli strikes on Gaza's humanitarian zone sparks desperate search for buried victims. There's more of this, and I think I'm just going to keep on talking about it. Gaza Civil Defense spokesman Mahmoud Bassal said Palestinians in the area were not warned of the strike in advance. There were more than 200 tents of displaced people at the Al-Mawasi area. Bassal said, adding about 20 to 40 tents were destroyed and entire families have disappeared in the sand. 20 to 40 tents? Oh, there's a tent city. We got homeless people. And we don't take care of our homeless. You got people living in the sewers in Las Vegas. 20 to 40 tents are destroyed. They're living in a fucking tent. Entire families have disappeared in the sand. Hamas called Israel's claims its fighters were in the area a blatant lie through which Israel seeks to justify these heinous crimes without evidence. You just say, Hamas, show us the proof. Did Tyre Nichols, was he speeding? You don't even have proof that he was speeding. Tell me that these are terrorists, these are bad men. Are they murderers? Have they killed anybody? Or did they just say something online? Hamas said dozens of unarmed civilians, most of them were women and children. There was a bill in Congress, America. They're trying to say you couldn't even criticize Israel. How was that even considered? How did that get so far along? You can't even criticize them? Free speech says you can really say whatever the fuck you want to say. The strike hit Al-Mawasi, a coastal region close to Khan Yunis, where tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians have fled to, many living in tents in an area with sparse infrastructure, scant access to shelter, or life-saving humanitarian aid. BBC said it operates in a safe zone. 40 killed, 60 injured. Well, shit, you keep killing 90, 40, 20, 60, 1, 2, 3, 200,000 at least. Deral Balah, Gaza Strip, an Israeli strike in a crowded tent. 40 people killed, 60 wounded. Gaza Civil Defense, more than 60 people. They're retrieved as body parts. The strike happens just after midnight and it caused a fire. People were buried in the sand. They're retrieved as body parts. Around 24 bodies were brought in from the strike. 24. When Israel bombed the first hospital in Gaza, the world wouldn't believe it. Israel said it misfired. A Hamas rocket. It was a Hamas. They did it to themselves. They killed Rachel Corrie. They drove right over her with the Caterpillar bulldozer 20-something years ago. When they bombed that first hospital, they at least tried to lie about it. They said it was Hamas. They act like it was a misfire. But Israel's destroyed all 36 hospitals. All 36 hospitals in Gaza. Now they're bombing refugee camps on top of it. The United States isn't even probing the killing of its citizen, I75, in the West Bank. So we just had another American get killed in the West Bank. Are we going to let Israelis kill us now? We're so goddamn gung-ho about letting Israel do anything and everything. They bombed the USS Liberty. They ran over Rachel Corrie. That's one good thing Donald did do when it came to the North Koreans. He brought that guy back home. He just fucking went through shit and we didn't do anything. Can't the president at least say, hey, give us our people back? Official U.S. spokesperson warns against conflating killing of American Israeli captives in Gaza with shooting of I75 SGEG. So 6 of the hostages were killed. We don't know if the commandos did it. We don't know if Hamas did it. But it was a botched raid. The raid was botched. And then that's why you got a massive strike right now. A general strike in Israel. So you got a lot of people in Israel that's trying to stop this thing. A general strike, you can't tell everybody to go home. If the entire country is against it, you've lost your country. Bassel said that besides the 83 personnel killed, you need a leader though, and you'll need specific demands. And you'll need somebody on vanguard. You'll need a vanguard too. Over 200 others were wounded. So they're killing personnel, they're killing EMS, they're killing firefighters. People say the first responders, oh, God bless the first responders. They said that they were the essential workers during COVID. We don't care about the working class. Anadolu reported Israel bombed 16 schools in Gaza in the past 6 weeks. 16 schools in the past 6 weeks? So that's about 2+ schools every week. So yeah, school shootings are terrible. There's something that happened in Maryland. Nobody's talking about Maryland. Why? One kid killed another kid. That's not sexy enough. If it bleeds, it leads. If it's gory, it's a story. But one kid killed another kid in Maryland. Nobody gives a shit. The shit in Georgia, they're still talking about it. They had helicopters over there. So many. The media had an absolute feast. The media went crazy when it came to that Georgia school shooting. You would think with the focus of all that media and all that conversation, all that video footage, we're going to solve these problems, right? We got major problems, systemic issues, institutional issues, and we're going to solve them, right? No, it's for the advertisers. You got the business. Media is a business, and they got to get the eyes on the newspaper so you can look at the advertisers and pay the money with the advertisers. Our politicians are bought and sold. Half the time they're on the damn phones. So our government's bought and paid for. Our media's bought and paid for. They'll take a picture of the dead person so that way you'll pick up their paper, and that makes the advertisers happy because that gets more circulation. They'll sell more couches that way. 16 schools in Gaza bombed for the past 6 weeks. So that's 630,000 children in Gaza. We're supposed to start a new school year this week, but there's no school to go to. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed. Rights group Euromed Human Rights Monitor reported this week. Euromed Monitor, Israel has killed 217 Palestinians across 16 schools, now functioning as shelters in Gaza since the beginning of August. These attacks have also injured hundreds, the group says. Every time it launches an attack, the Israeli army attempts to justify its actions by claiming that it was attacking military targets. But there's no proof. There's no evidence. They don't give us photographs. They don't tell us what they think they know. Just like 20 years ago in America, they drop a knife. They drop a gun and they say, oh, he tried to attack us. He's the bad guy. That's a terrorist. Yeah, but people missile striking fucking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. That's not terrorism. For some reason, that's not terrorism, is it? The latest attack came on Saturday when Israeli forces bombed a school north of Gaza City, the Amr ibn al-As school. And they killed 3. 3 were killed. Isn't that a huge deal? 4 got killed in Georgia. 3 got killed in this Amr ibn al-As school. And 20 were wounded in the attack on the now shelter for displaced Palestinians. That's not a school anymore. It's a refugee camp. For how long? And we're bombing people in tents. In tents. They're living in a fucking tent. You wouldn't be pissed off if you were living in a tent? A recent report, what about in the sewers in Las Vegas? Would that piss you off? Y'all get pissed off at somebody just saying something. What? The Democrats said this. What? The Republicans said this. Israeli newspaper Yedioth Aharonoth found that the Israeli military is currently developing a plan to forcibly displace every Palestinian who still remains in northern Gaza. That's the general's plan. So we still got genocide on the books. Israel's genocide, schools have been closed for nearly a full year. 630,000 children in Gaza have been deprived of schooling and hospitals, even housing, food, water. This includes nearly 40,000 students who are supposed to finish their school year, their final year of grade school, take their qualifying exams in the last school year, go to middle school, go to high school. There's no elementary. They're blocked from doing so by Israel. Human rights experts have warned that a second year without schooling for the children of Gaza will severely hamper their development for decades to come and could potentially lead to many children never returning to school. The Palestinian Education Ministry has said that Israel's killed over 750 educational workers. 750? That's way more than 2. Georgia, there's 2, and RIP to those people. I'm not excusing it. I am comparing and contrasting, though. 750 education workers since October and injured thousands more. About 85% of the schools have been so thoroughly destroyed by Israeli forces that they would need to undergo full major reconstruction according to the UN, while over 90% of Gaza schools have been damaged by Israel. Israel has also either totally destroyed or severely damaged every university in Gaza. No universities, no schools, no hospitals, no roads. The ambulances can't get through the roads. Hind Rajab was on the phone for hours. They read the Quran to her, and she read the Quran back to them to comfort her. How many Christians have read the Bible to their children? Read the Bible and said, hey, you're okay, you're going to be fine. And then they weren't. They didn't come home because they died or they were killed. They starved to death. Israel has directly targeted children in Gaza, killing them en masse, orphaning 20,000 children or more, rendering at least 21,000 children missing. And people want to keep on repeating that 40,000 line. Just in children, you've killed 40,000 children. 21,000 children are missing, separated from their families, or buried under the rubble. 200,000, at least 200,000 innocents have been killed. That's an overreaction. That is such a major overreaction. The Bush doctrine said that 1 million Iraqis could be bombed because of the 3,000 that died on 9/11, but that was Saudi Arabia. We haven't even punished Saudi Arabia for that shit. They're the ones getting us into this Yemeni conflict. Yemen's sitting there. We're on the side of Saudi Arabia. That's our ally. Our ally bombed us. We don't attack our allies who bomb us and kill one of our own or two of our own, or the USS Liberty. And then we also invaded Afghanistan. So person A punches person B, and then we attack person C and person D. You go after the perpetrator. You don't go after the innocent people. And if you're walking down the wrong road, it's never too late to turn back around. The military-industrial complex wants to target Saudi Arabia, then do that. Sitting here going to every other fucking countries and ruining their fucking lives. Putin killed tens of thousands in Mariupol. How does that not reflect what America's been doing? How does that not reflect what America has been doing?